Great, great. So we'll start. So I hope to wind up this session in about 40-45 minutes, but I usually talk more than what I plan for. And the idea for the session is basically to help you understand what I have always believed in, that reading comprehension is just about you reading a story and answering questions which are just based on that story which you just read. And I have always been perplexed by why people find it tough and why there are certain perceptions such as, oh, I am an engineer and therefore, I'm not good at verbal. There are many preconceived notions. Now, the session is intended to power your percentile in the VRC section of CAT 2020, but you will also benefit if you are writing it in 2021. And most certainly, you will also benefit if you are preparing for or hoping to write the GMAT in the coming 4 or 5 months. I've always recommended people to write both CAT and GMAT. Now, see, what you see on the screen is what is the philosophy of reading comprehension. It is probably the best way to describe what should be your ideal reading strategy, or if there is anything called comprehension strategy, right? So what we call as the tone of the passage, or what does the author think, you actually don't have to struggle for it if you have read the passage properly, as I will explain in the session. Ultimately, it's about you being one with the author. And yes, I understand that it's easier said than done. It's easier in the condition which I show you on the screen. You are able to do that, but under the examination condition with the timer ticking constantly, it becomes difficult. And that is actually the only reason why, if you say you struggle, then you struggle. Otherwise, there's absolutely, you see the same passages. If you read in your free time, just in a relaxed atmosphere, you will be surprised that you were once troubled by it, right? So that is where we need to get to. Why do we get worried about this section, which is essentially about storytelling? So I'm just switching off the video so that the focus is on the screen. Now let me just tell you about myself, because it's obviously of importance here in the context of our discussion. I am an alumnus of IIT Kharagpur 2004 Mechanical, and I am an alumnus of Accelerai Jamshedpur 2006-2008. I did BM from there, specializing in marketing and finance. The first time I appeared for, not the first time, but when I appeared for a do or die CAT, it was in 2005-06. I wrote that CAT in 2005. So just to put things in context, in the proper context, that is where you are probably right now. And the score, and that time I scored 99.45 percentile. There was one skewness that was in the DI LRDI section. So I got a call from, I eventually got a final call from IMK and Excel, and I joined Excel. Now, and after that, in my previous startup, I trained for CAT. So it's not just out of sheer, personal interest that I am here. I've done this before. And it was in 2000 CAT 2016 that I got this 100 percentile in VARC. Not of great importance. Of course, its importance is here because it gives me the probably the moral authority to talk about this matter. But the whole point is, I've written CAT 7 times, and I have always maintained that my strongest section is quant, and I have always beaten quant with my VARC percentile. Now, in this case, the quant percentile was shameful. 93 percentile is what troubled me. So that my last CAT was 2017, where I had decided that I will beat VARC with quant. I got 99.4 in quant, and I got 99.8 in VARC. So I could not fulfill that mission. Let's not talk about DILR, which Siddharth will probably talk about someday. Not really, I'm not really the best at it. Right. So now I have always maintained that, you see, 100 percentile is fluke. Let's not get obsessed or even discuss about 100 percentile, but 99 you have to cross by your preparation, right, with proper strategy. And it's the easiest to do in VARC. Trust me on this count. Now, I will try not to get a lot into the structure of CAT and or GMAT, because I'm assuming you know it. If not, then maybe I will take another session. We'll just do some survey, and I'll be able to do that. But the point is, you have 34 questions in VARC, you have 34 questions in quant, and you have 32 questions in LRDI when we talk about CAT. Now, these 34, in quant, the game is simple. In quant, you have to, in my opinion, to cross 99, I think you have to get more than 28 right out of 34, going by the standards of the questions in the last 4 years, I would say. Because quant has become, you see, I think every year I find quant becoming easier compared to the previous year. The reason is simple, because the test has to be really balanced, in the sense that it doesn't have to favor one kind of candidates. And VRC has been of a moderate level. So it's far easier to get 99 plus with a very good score in VARC than it would be in quant. And most certainly it's not that easy for LRDI, as you would probably know. And the difference between a 99 percentile in, let's say, LRDI and VARC, or even quant for that matter, is that in LRDI you say out of 32 you can get 14 right, and yet you would get 99 plus. But in VARC or QA, you will be scoring far higher, right? You have to get far higher marks to be able to get to that level, right? So overall, if you have to boost your overall percentile, it has to be one powerful performance in VARC, or let us say, if not in VARC, then in quant, and then you have to manage LRDA. That is the perfect strategy. All right. So now the last CAT was in 2017. I stopped writing it because I remember distinctly that when I was coming out of the center, the guy was sitting next to me. He finally started talking to me, and he asked me, which attempt is this one? And I told him the 7th one. I wanted him to ask why, so that I could proudly explain something to him. He did not ask, and he sympathized with me. So I just decided to hang the boots. And there were, in any case, it really did not matter beyond the point, because now CAT has achieved a certain level, which it has maintained in the last 4 years. So now, for this session, I have spent a lot of time analyzing the CAT 2019 passages. And I will be briefly telling you about why I think it's easy to crack the verbal section. Now, these are the passages. I'm not giving the entire passages here, because you wouldn't be reading it right now. These are the titles of the passages, the sources of the passages, and the date from where, the date on which these passages were published in their sources. In the first slot, there were 4 passages, 6 questions each. The first passage was choice fatigue. Basically, you have so many choices these days. If you go to buy online, you get tired. You don't even end up buying. And how do these big e-commerce firms influence your choice? It's about that. It was taken from The Atlantic, May 24, 2019. The second passage was about whether Aladdin was a real person, and it explored the story of the man who first wrote about Aladdin. A very interesting story there. It was taken from Time, May 23, 2019. Right? You see the pattern there, May 23, May 24. And then was a passage on emperor penguins, on how do they survive the frigid Atlantic weather, climate rather. What is it in their mechanism, in their metabolism, that helps them survive it? This was taken from Smithsonian. Smithsonian is, of course, the mostly about, you see, cultural and artifact related issues. It's the most prestigious magazine for that. Then we had a passage on topophilia. This was taken from the Encyclopedia of Human Geography. And now, how were these passages selected? Let's not get into that. And actually, let's get into that. I'll tell you how are these passages selected. If I were to ask you to design a paper for this CAT so that it does not favor anyone, what would you be doing? The first requirement would be for you, you would say, I will not take it from India. I will not take it from any of the topics which Indians generally follow, which means, of course, politics, sports, cricket. These would not feature. So you would go international. You would say, I would rather not touch any Indian passage. And you see on the screen, that is exactly what has, and this is not just in 2019. This is something which is consistent since the last 6 or 7 years. I would also tell you that there was one cat, I don't remember which one, where I got a passage which I had read before. And I will talk about the reading habits very shortly, right? So you got a gist of slot one. Now the slot two people were somewhat unlucky in my opinion. I hope they normalize. I don't know how they normalize, but I do hope they normalized it, because slot two had you see slot one had 4 passages, 6 questions each, and slot two had 6 passages, 4 questions each. And these passages were somewhat more difficult than the ones in the first slot. Although this is inconsequential to, I mean, this is something which is outside your control, so let's not worry about that. Now, excellent choice of passages here. The first one was about folk songs. How do we even define folk songs? How folk songs transform themselves across generations as they move across generations. This was taken from the Guardian, 2010. Then there was a passage on ownership of 3D scans, right? So Google has an initiative where it partners with another company and it scans all the historical sites across the world. And the passage discussed about the problem with the company which collaborates with Google owning the copyright of this, which means the copyright of the 3D scans of historical sites is outside the country. And that's unfair. So it was about that, an excellent read. Then there was this passage on why governments move civil servants out of national capitals. This is a trend of being observed across the world. Why do they want local people to become administrators? Most governments from the national capitals. Again, somewhat difficult. The first one was easy. The second one was easy, in my opinion. And the third one was slightly difficult. Then we had embracing linguistic identities, an excellent passage in terms of literary quality. I mean, sheer joy of reading you would achieve if you are reading this outside the examination hall, but inside you had to be careful, and I'll tell you how. And the second last one was externally, this was the fifth passage, externally imposed colonial modernization of India, the most difficult passage of the last cat, and brilliant in its constitution. And I must tell you, even I had some problems. So let me admit, I mean, even after showing my 100 percentile, that I had some difficulty in going through this, but I will tell you why that really does not matter. And then the last one was easy. It was how slums can save the planet, somewhat on these lines. I mean, why are slums very efficient? Which means that it had an interesting argument, basically saying that in a slum you have a very high population density, right? And if you have a very high population density, then that's very good, efficient use of land, very efficient use of many other resources. It was that kind, right? So this was slot two, this was slot one. Again, we need not worry about which slot we get, because that's not in our control. All right. And I will tell you why you should not also worry, because the most difficult passages inevitably come with the easiest questions. And mark my word for this. Because ultimately, you see, the examiner times both the idle time it would take to read the passage and to answer the question. So if you persist, you are rewarded with easy questions at the end of it. And the passages might have been difficult, but the questions were easy, right? So now these are the usual sources. Again, I'm not sure how much it will help you in CAT 2020, but let's say if you are targeting 2021, or if you want to become, if you just want to ace the verbal section of the GMAT, even there for that matter, these are, and it's beautiful how the two exams are in sync, by the way, CAT and the GMAT. You prepare for the GMAT verbal and you will ace CAT. I can guarantee you that. Now, the New York Times, Washington Post, NPR, The Atlantic, Axios, CNN, BBC, The Guardian, The Economist, and the Encyclopedia of Geography or Philosophy. I have seen at least, you see 8 to 10 passages coming from this encyclopedia. Now, I gave you this list. What would you do with it? Are you going to read the entire Encyclopedia of Philosophy? If you can, well, then you should take the next session and let me know how, because I've tried and I just can't, right? So this is just for you to understand where should you focus your reading habits on, if you're open to any sources. Now, If it is about the RC section of CAT, and the verbal section pretty much, by the way, is RC, right? You have RO 34, 24 RC, and then you have 10 verbal questions. Uh, uh, Basically, you have, last year it was parajumbles mostly. Then you had alternate summaries. You have to select the best summary, and usually there is para completion. These are easy to do. Only para jumbles is difficult. Alternate summaries is easy to do. Para completion is really easy to do. So, and there also you can't create a good summary without being good at comprehension. You can't create a good you can't complete a paragraph without being good at comprehension. And of course, you can't do the parajumbles without being able to see the big picture by vertically reading 5 or 6 sentences. Last year it was 4 and 5. Right? So now, how do you prepare? Your reading list should come from a customized feed of these publications. And you have to create your own feeds. Up to you, what sources, how do you create your feed? But you have to get here. And in this case, it is paramount that you refer to the culture or lifestyle or op-ed sections, right? Which means you're not going to follow who's going to win the US elections. That will never be asked, because there's something which most people generally follow. That will make it easy for certain people to not even read the passage and still answer the question, which defeats the purpose of the paper. So you have to create that customized feed, culture, lifestyle. Even I would say on the BBC, for example, there is a section called Future. Excellent. I mean, you should read it anyway. And if an exam gives you the opportunity to read it, why not? You should grab it with both hands and all fingers that you type with. So that is where we get to now. On a lighter note, the ideology that these test creators follow is to the left. They are socialists, and in a way, I could see the some and whoever created last year's paper had a strong grudge against a growing trend of nationalism. That is the big picture, because I saw the passages of both the slots, right? I'm not saying that you should change your political ideology just to be here. The whole point is the sources that I'm referring to above, anyway, right? So it leans to the left. That's just an additional point. I don't know what you will do with it. Now, let's get to the core of the session, right? Now, I want you to imagine being here. If you're writing CAT now, if you're going to write CAT in 2021, it's very easy, right? We are all fun. We are having this nice session. I can talk casually. I can actually take CAT casually because it really doesn't matter. I mean, I'm done with it. But for you, it's mostly a do or die kind of situation, right? So now you arrive at the center. You have been waiting there for 2 hours. You go inside. Now you're staring at the screen, which starts half an hour after you sitting there, and then the invigilator starts shouting some random instructions. You are trying to focus a lot of questions in your mind, whether I will crack this or I will go back to the same job, and where I'm obviously not doing that well. What happens next? I don't even have a job. All the questions will come to your mind straight away. And that is exactly what derails the verbal section, or any section for that matter, but mostly the verbal section. And in CAT, you actually begin with it, right? So how do you basically control the chaos? It's just about that. This is about the temperament, mind you. And you give me a room full of CAT aspirants taking the test. I will observe, and I'm not joking. I will be able to predict the exact percentile just by observing their behavior 10 minutes before the timer starts. Because you have to concentrate. You have to wait for the action to begin. You have to calm down your nerves. So let's get to the approach, right? What should be the approach? And this is not science. This is about what I'm going to discuss is art. What I'm going to discuss is philosophy. What I'm going to discuss is what worked for me. I analyzed it later. I actually had, like I said, initially it was just casual. I thought, why should I be worried about RC? Then I started doing well in my mocks. When I was actually preparing for CAT, I used to do really well. People started asking me, and I had initially no idea. Then I realized that it's probably because I was never scared. Initially, it was that. I was not scared of the section at all. I have always found it amusing why people get scared. And that helps. I mean, and that's not just for CAT for that matter. It's true for quant, it's true for LR. And then on, of course, I have, I have come to understand a few principles. I will tell you four principles. We have limited time here, because now these are the aspects which determine your 99%, which ensure your 99 percentile and hopefully take you towards 99.99. And let's not discuss 100. So the first principle is you have to be still. If I were to ask you to just not think anything for the next 2 minutes, you would find it in, incredibly difficult to do that. As soon as you start, and we all have been through that, right? Let me not think about it, let me not worry about it. And we start worrying about exactly that. And now your timer is about to start. You know the first section is VARC. You may have done well in the mocks. You may have not done well in the mocks. In either case, now the real action starts. You know that now nothing else will carry forward. Only whatever is on the screen. Every thought that you did not want to think is right there in your mind. And that is what derails it. And you see the first 5 minutes, and not joking, the first 5 minutes will determine your entire performance. Because if you see, if you struggle there, which means, let's say the VRC section starts, you take up a passage, in 2 minutes you abandon it. In just 2 minutes you abandon it. And you should never abandon a passage, by the way, never. I'll tell you why. But you abandon it. Now you start panicking somewhat. You go to the next one. Maybe you start looking around. You see everyone else seems to be concentrating on the screen. Maybe it's an easy CAT. Maybe the scoring is going to be high. All the thoughts start coming to you, and it's gone. Because then maybe your VRC goes. Then the next section, you will think, I have to score more. It goes. And when you come out, probably you understand, you are told that it was difficult for all. And those who persisted would probably be rewarded in the end. So the first principle, it's sort of, you see the Zen, the Bushido, you see the samurais, they have this Bushido code. And what is that Bushido code? If I die, I die. It's the same thing. If I die, I die. There's no point in worrying about that before I go to war. It's exactly the same thing. And I would say, I'm not sure how good I am at cracking CAT or any other exam, but I would say I have that temperament where I understand that in the end, you have to be the best behaved exam test taker in that room. You have to be absolutely calm and control your emotions, right? So how do you remain calm in the middle of a storm? That's exactly what, right? Now the timer has started and suddenly you are looking at the screen, started ticking. You prepare for that. You prepared your mind for that. You have trained yourself, even if you have trained it for the last 10 days, but you have completely controlled your behavior to an extent where it will not matter whether it's an actual CAT or a mock CAT. The first thing is, and this is true for any general reading, you have to stop talking to yourself. Now, if you do that, and we all do that, it's not, I'm not going to say it's all right. Even if you're not writing the exam, it's not all right. If you talk to yourself while reading, maybe read a few parts of the sentences in your mind. And not even that, maybe you start talking, okay, maybe I'm understanding this. Maybe I can, oh no, this is tough. Oh yeah, this word is tough. What does it even mean? If you start talking to yourself, see what is the fundamental error that you are making here. It means your reading speed now depends on your talking speed. And you can never talk as fast as you read. So that ensures, that's suicidal in a way, that you have sabotaged your entire section just by talking to yourself. So if you are talking, then stop talking while reading. This will help you remain calm, because immediately, see what happens, the timer starts and, oh, okay, is this easy? Is this difficult? Is this philosophy? Oh, this seems like philosophy. Hold on, it's not philosophy. And you have already read the let's say 5-6 sentences which have been laid waste just because you were talking to yourself. Now, if you don't talk to yourself, then you can chunk words together. So I'm sure you know this, you have experienced this. If let's say if you like cricket and you're reading an article on IPL, if you follow IPL every year and you're reading an article on the IPL current edition, how much time do you think will you take in reading an entire page? I mean, an entire Word document based on that. You wouldn't bother. You wouldn't even think about it, right? It would be over before even you realize, and you would smile at even the question. That is the point. Why could you read it? Because you are not thinking about reading. You're just reading it. It's in your interest area. So what is your mind doing? It's chunking the words together. You are reading. You're actually seeing 8 or 10 words in one go. It happens by default. You just have to control your, it's called sub vocalization. You just have to control that, right? So now what about hardcore practice? See, I'm all for mocks. I mean, if you don't write mocks, if you don't test yourself, there are, I don't know how many students would have told me over all these years that I will take my mock when I finished my syllabus. And you see, I don't even know where to bang my head when people talk to me like that, because that is the worst way to prepare. I mean, you are saying that when I have prepared in a perfect manner, then I will explore if I'm weak in a particular area. It's I mean, it's paradoxical. You have to keep taking the tests. In fact, if you only take mocks, and I'm sure of this. I've interacted with many overall 100 percentilers, the real 100 percentilers. The If you just take a mock for every day for the entire year and analyze it in detail, you would be probably the next 99.9 percentiler. But would you do that? No, right? Now you would say, I have to prepare, which is all right. So at least, you should be taking these mocks. The problem with the mocks is you take it under ideal conditions, which means you don't want to be disturbed. You have asked everybody to shut up. You have closed your door, and now you're taking it. Now your mind adapts, of course, to such conditions. But imagine the examination hall. You're sitting on an uncomfortable chair. There is a lot of noise outside the window. These invigilators inevitably, by Murphy's law, they would stand just next to you and gossip about Sushant Singh Rajput and Riya Chakravarti. Now, let's say that is happening. What would you do? Are you going to ask them, lift your head up from the screen, move it from the screen and say, hey, stop it, I'm getting interested in your conversation? Or you would be interested in that conversation at that time? No, right? But you have to practice in the non-ideal conditions. So in 2019, it would have been a noisy canteen. In 2020, I'm sure, just play Republic TV somewhere, let the noise come and take your test. I'm not joking. It would be one of the best practice sessions that you would have. Now, why are we doing this? Because we need to, and ideally, see, you should be taking the mocks at when once your slot is decided. If it's in slot 1 or in slot 2, you should take it in that slot only at that time itself, because everything has to be you see, extremely disciplined. You have to replicate the same conditions, and the conditions are not ideal. You have to imagine that. I mean, I mean, you may be sitting in a schoolboy's on a schoolboy's chair, which is very uncomfortable, and you want that comfort which you had in your room. If you are so I hope you got the point. So that, because otherwise you would be disturbed. You would say, oh, this is a terrible situation I'm in. My goodness, I am the only unlucky one in this whole world who has got this stupid center. I cannot tell you how many people just convinced themselves after the test that it was because of that center that they couldn't clear it. But it's not because of the center. It's because of their flawed strategy that they couldn't clear. Now, do not look at the timer. This sounds counterintuitive, but you see, why is the timer there? Timer is actually there to seduce you. You keep looking at the timer, and the time flies. Of course, you get that sense. So there's a difference between having a sense of time flowing and looking at the timer every second minute, because that breaks the flow, which is the second principle I will come to. You just actually, you can't, and you get restless. Now, let's say there are just 5 minutes remaining and you have one passage to cover, one RC passage. I would assure you that 80% of the candidates would drop their passage and just stare at the timer. Just, I mean, absolutely no point in even holding the mouse in their hand, and just stare at the screen. How great is this stupidity? In 5 minutes, you could have actually covered that passage, and maybe out of four, you could have answered the two questions, and those two questions would have earned you, who knows, 4 or 5 more percentile in that section. So you can't just be doing this. I remember one interview I read long time back. It was from a GMAT 800 scorer. 800 out of 800 in the GMAT is rare. It's so rare that people don't even think it exists. And he had described his experience there. What he said was, this first section was quant, and he had tried really well for that, and he did not think it went well. He thought he had lost a lot of time, although it went well eventually. And the second section, he said that I suddenly forgot to keep track on time. And he said I was done with it, and there were still 10 minutes remaining. And he said I must have done something wrong, something I would have missed, but he said it was over. And of course, he got 800 out of 800, and even the invigilators, the test center there, they could not believe it. So what went on there, right? He was in a way one with the screen. He just lost track of time, and he was flowing there, no other thought. You really don't need to look at the screen if you control your inner talking, the inner monologue, sub-vocalization, all the distractions. You will just continuously, you will keep solving the question. And once in a while, you have a look at the timer, keep things in control. Now, if you talk about RC, let's say there are, there's no ideal time per RC. So it's I would say, silly for you to say that, oh, I have taken 8 minutes in the first RC only, now I have less time. I've taken 10 minutes. Maybe the next one will require just 4 minutes, 3 minutes, who knows? Maybe the next one is really easy. Maybe everyone took 8 to 10 minutes, but you have started to talk, and that is going to impact your performance. Now, it's also very, there's no other way to put it. It's incredibly stupid to worry about the questions in the middle of the test, right? Or before the beginning of the test. Now, if you have prepared well, you shouldn't worry. You have prepared well. If you have not prepared well, then why the hell are you worrying? It would be insane. You haven't even prepared well. So if you haven't prepared well, this is your chance. This is your chance to attack those who prepared well, but will falter on the final day, and you can have your victory dance after the percentile is released. You will have a great story to tell, but you are also worried. So in either case, there's no need to worry. Now, the second principle is do not break the flow. And yes, I have put a few bullet points here. I will quickly go through these, but the whole point here is do not pause, stop, or reconsider whether you should finish this passage, whether you should take up this passage. It's going to ruin your entire section. Why am I saying this? Because you see, clearly you have invested some time, right, before you decide. Now, first of all, how can you even select? When people ask me, how do I select certain passages? How can you select certain passages? Only after you have read the entire passage can you know whether or not you should select the passage. Even if you look at CAT 2019, even I couldn't realize after up to two paragraphs what the passage was about. That was, I think, true for 4 passages there. So are you going to classify, oh, this is factual, I will take this up. Oh, this is science, I like science. And this is philosophy, hardcore philosophy, I will skip this. No, you can't. So once you start, you have to finish it. But this is also about your way of life, how you read in general. If you train your mind's algorithm to just not give up, to just continue reading, you will continue reading. That's just your habit. That's how you behave generally. Now, this is also important because it's also practical. Why is it practical? Because you see, in a passage, there are enough opportunities for you to not know the meaning of maybe even 2, 3 sentences continuously, and yet get to know the meaning of the entire passage. Because maybe the next paragraph will give you one example. It will give one quote. By the way, the quotes are the easiest, are your best friends. If you find quotes there in a passage, that's to help you understand a passage better. The author gives you for the quotes for that reason. So then it becomes far easier. So you continue reading and you're rewarded for that. If you stop, you're gone. It's over. It's just at that moment your section is over. And my ideal recommendation for the entire VARC is 34 out of 34, and all, of course, all the passages attempted and done, because you're fighting a war here. Let's be clear. There would be many people like me who would do it, and who would and you can do it too. But just because somebody told you that out of, let's say, 6 passages, 4 is ideal, and because you're not really good at VARC, you should pick and choose. I cannot be sure that if I attempt, let's say 24 out of 34, I will get 20 right. It won't be. But if I attempt 34 out of 34, whatever happens, I will get 24 right. And it's true for you also. Now tell me which one is easier. If you can manage in the same time, all both these options, are you going to be really careful? And I don't know. See, the whole point is, the more careful you are in reading, the more likely you are to make mistakes, many blunders. So this is one suggestion you have to understand. And I wanted to spend some time on vertical reading, but then I realized this is not possible here. But vertical reading happens, maybe in another session, I will be doing it, but vertical reading happens automatically. So if you move your, let's say, I don't know how you read it, but I will start a video just for some time. So let's say, just observe how I'm reading. If I'm reading like this, right? I'm just going left to right. It's silly. It's just not practical at all. That's not how the mind works. Basically, you are interrupting the process of mind. So if I'm reading properly, I'm just relaxed. I'm here, and I wouldn't even wouldn't even move here. My vision will go like this. If at all, I go page down and I go there. I scroll down, I go there. It has to be like that, and that is the meaning of vertical reading. So we have to be extremely cognizant of the importance of good habits here. All right. So I just, yeah. So now let's move to the next point. So I hope you have understood this, and the whole point is, I've seen many students getting negative marks because they were going back and forth. You can't go back. It's just impossible for you to go back and then make the passage understand the passage better. Understand under the examination condition, you won't be able to manage it. If you give yourself less time, you will understand why the mind will make sure it happens, right? We all see the mind gets into the survival mode. Once you keep reading, it will adjust its speed accordingly. So you don't want to earn negative marks after spending 6 minutes or eight chaotic minutes of back and forth reading, and which leaves you less time to answer the questions, which also deserve to get decent enough time, right? The ideal split across the passages and questions should be 50-50. And of course, you don't have to be robotic about it, but subconsciously it would be 50-50. So maybe it will be, let's say, 3 minutes of reading the passage and 3 or 4 minutes of answering the questions. Now, don't worry about the tough words. Don't worry about the vocabulary. All these are extremely, I would say, pathetic myths which still float around. Your vocabulary does not matter at all. You can get 100 percentile in spite of not being very good with words. It's the context that matters. There are no word meanings asked, not even in XAT these days. Earlier they used to ask. Right now, one tip which is from my own experience, I think you can apply. It may sound silly, but it works. So what happens is your mind will take 2-3 minutes before it gets into the proper flow. So what you should do is you should start reading the instructions on the screen, and before the timer starts, and that what that does is your mind is in the proper flow as you move on, and that will work to your advantage. Now, I actually want to uh, wrap up the session in quickly. So I will be sharing a few more insights, which I will I will just leave you with these insights. Now, what about connecting with the author? How do you connect with the author? If you read the passage properly, you are one with the author. And with this means, if you apply the first and second principles, you will have no problem. You will be nodding without even you knowing about it. Somebody observing you would say, you were nodding while reading the passage. Now look at these beautiful excerpts, which I have taken from CAT 2019 passages. Excellent, excellent. And I mean, of course, you would have probably seen this, or I mean, I will see to it that you get the PDF as well of this. But the whole point is, I was struck by the beauty of these while reading it. Not that I was talking to myself. It just happens automatically. You begin to understand the author. So the tone of the passage, this is something which you don't need to worry about. The central theme, these are all sessions in themselves, extremely important. And it comes to you if you have read the passage properly, right? You don't need to find the central theme. There is no first sentence, last sentence, by the way. It never works. It's incredibly nonsensical to even say that you could somehow discover the central theme by following certain tricks. The whole thing is, if you have understood the passage, if you have read the passage properly, you have been one with the author, you understand the central theme, right? So if it is a sequential story kind of, let's say it's talking about some discovery architectural work being done, then you would maybe even see it like a movie going forward. Certain do's and don'ts I will leave you with. Again, I talked about the joy of reading, but you are not there for the joy of reading. You have to understand the purpose of this, right? You have to understand the exact very purpose of this, which is to score marks here. So you have to get done with it. You have to, and your speed is about your smoothness, how smoothly you read this, right? So now you do not actually read for enlightenment. It's not for entertainment. It's there to answer the question. So if you like the passage, if it's going really fast, go even faster and go to the questions. If it's a fact-based question, please make sure you go to the passage and check it. Even if you remember it, you have to go there. The ideal attempt is 34 by 34. There is no ideal reading speed, right? I just told you why, because ultimately your reading speed will depend on your comfort level with the passage. So maybe there will be one passage you will read in 3-4 minutes. The other passage you will read in 8 to 10 minutes. On an average, you will have 6 minutes per passage, which is excellent in my opinion. You can get up to 8 minutes per passage. That also works. Do never expect questions. Never start reading the questions before you get there, right? Just never do that. Now there are certain trigger words, but although, however, still regardless, you have to be cognizant of that. There's one example here, beautiful example from the last class passage. See, it uses though, and because you don't know the context, I'm not getting there. It uses though here, then it uses but here. Now, when you use though and then you use but, you revert to the original argument, which is exactly what the passage did here, right? So eventually, see, RC is about active reading and not breaking the flow. Now, since we are time bound, I will come to one announcement which I must make, which is something that is, I hope you will understand, will add value to your preparation. We have launched this VARC crash course. Right now, I will be taking these 18 sessions. You can go to mba.napoli.com and you can explore it. I will try my best to take you to from wherever you are to the next level. I have done that in this session as well. I hope you realize that, but the complete preparation is not possible through 1 or 2 seminars. So it's for that. Now, there is a small fees for that. I hope you don't mind that, because we have to raise our revenues as well. We are answerable to certain shareholders. And also because eventually, see, if you are paying 20 to 22 lakhs for your fees, then I think the fees is 4,000. If it takes you to your dream institute, then I hope you will consider that. So please visit mba.napoli.com and check out the course. This is the entire session plan which you will find there. These are all 18 sessions. I will be taking them. I leave you with assignments. There will be 3 mock tests, which I will design based on the last 5 years CAT pattern. Everything in my capacity to make sure that you thank me later, I will do, because that is exactly what we thrive on, right? So now we will be open to questions. I think Siddharth will also be taking the questions now.
Guys, just a few things.
So,
I have just shared a Telegram channel link on your chat box. So you can just join the group. It's new group. Somebody asked me that it has only 2 subscriptions. Yeah, you set of guys are the first people with whom we are sharing this, and we will make it big in coming days. So your recordings of this session and whatever future plan we do, even if you don't join the program, it's perfectly fine. I mean, join the group. You will keep getting the updates which might be relevant to you, right? Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can just post. I have sent the link in the chat box, Sumit. Yes, Harshita is asking if you can just brief about the course. So just a little bit of brief
yeah,
for
I
everyone.
will do that.
Yeah.
There might be one technical glitch. Yeah, I'm just trying to solve that. If I vanish for about 2-3 minutes, I will reappear. Don't worry. So I will explain about the course here. Now the majority of this is about RC. So the first session, these are all live sessions, and the recording will be made available to you will have your login credentials. Once the session is done, you will have the recording available to you. So in the first session, 19 September, I will be talking about the core reading skills, which is basically an expanded version of whatever I have talked just now. I will also be talking about how to eliminate answer choices. Although I must say I never recommend skipping questions. That is not what I would say, but how do you vertically split the questions and then select the best answers. Then again, main theme and tone. All these will be will feature a lot of examples, right? Not just the theory, but a lot of examples. The third session. So the sessions are on Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday. Saturday, Sunday, 4 p.m. and Wednesday, 9 p.m. Even if you miss the session, you don't miss anything because the recording will be available to you. And all the doubts, I will be conducting even regular doubt clearing sessions, which you can address to me. And then the first 3 sessions will relate to RC, the theory parts, as well as the related CAT questions. And I will also be using GMAT examples here because like I said, they are strongly correlated with CAT questions. And then we will have the types of questions. Like I said, we will try to identify what types of questions are there and how to answer them. Parajumbles, extremely, I would say, yeah, they make us mad, but there is a method to how to unjumble those sentences. Luckily, the last year they gave 5 sentences. Sometimes they give even 6 sentences. We'll see how to deal with that. The grammar sessions will talk about all these usual, you see, grammar topics that you should be knowing about, which is subject verb agreement, role of each word in a sentence. Even if it's not very relevant in CAT, it will be relevant for all the other MBA exams right now. Paragraph completion, like I said, it usually yields three questions in every CAT. Sentence correction is related to grammar, but basically if you are given a sentence which is one part of which is wrong, how do you correct it? We'll see how to deal with that. Then again, we have another grammar session. Fact inference judgment, FIJ, was a favorite troublemaking section of CAT makers a few years back. So we will not leave anything for granted. We will take it up. Then again, we will have one more session to energize our RC preparation. There will be one session on vocabulary, which relates to mostly not the hardcore vocabulary, but you see phrasal verbs, idioms, and phrases. So this you will
Yes, I
find
think
more
that's
helpful
fair
in
enough.
ZAP.
We will share this in the Telegram group anyways, detailed thing. And if anyone has any query, they can obviously get back to us on the mail. There are other questions also coming up. So I think let us take these questions.
Yes.
So Pratik is asking, is there some coupon code available for this crash course? Yes, Pratik, there will be coupon code available, but we are not going to take more than 50 students for this crash course. And coupon code will be available only for the first 25 people who approach us. Right, so there would be coupon code that is available. Tej is asking, yes, if you can answer that, how many hours a day should we dedicate for RC practice? by following up with the course. So if somebody joins the course,
Again, it depends on how much time do you have. If you are writing it this year, then it has to be hardcore, which means now you have to just solve the previous papers. I will suggest you take up, even if you're writing the CAT, you have to take up certain GMAT preparation material and prepare with that. If you're asking me about the next CAT, then you have to get your reading habits right. And you just have to love reading from those sources. It will, trust me,
yeah, I think, yes, we have lost your voice, but I will take it from here. He will join back. Guys, are you able to listen me? If you can just confirm on the chat box, I will take all the questions. Yeah. So we were there. Pratik, we will share. You write a mail at feedback@napoli.com. We will share those who approach us. Harshita is asking, are we going to interact with you all after sessions and discuss our performance and how to go about it? Yes, Harshita, you will certainly be able to do that. We will give you a particular time slot to do that. You see, after each class, there will be a 20 to 30-minute slot wherein you can discuss your issues with Yash. Also, if there are issues, we can fix up another time slot and discuss whatever problems you are facing, right? So that certainly is available, because without that there is not much point in taking classes. So it will be interactive course any which way. Aditya is asking, if RC passages, if for a particular question there is a confusion between two options and deciding between these two options takes more than 2 minutes, is it better to skip anyway? Yash, are you there, or shall I take this question? You are on mute. You are on mute, Yash.
Yeah. Okay. I think now I'm audible, right?
Yeah. Now you're audible. Yeah.
Yeah. So the question is whether you should. Yes. When I said attempt 34 out of 34, I did not by any means say that you have to compulsorily attempt this question. What I meant was you have to give them a good thought. Right now, if in spite of your best efforts, you are confused between two options, so it's all right to leave it. Now it comes down to your personality type. And again, it depends on what you believe in. I would take my 50% chances. If it's down to 2, then I would mark 1. It's up to up to you. But again, it's all right to leave it. Do not spend a lot of time between two options. If you have given it a good thought and you still think it might be B or it might even be D, then either you leave or you decide between B and D and go there. Select B. Actually, historically there have been more B's than D's in CAT as the right answer. Yeah.
When you are stuck between two options, what I will do is I will definitely mark the option which is closer to the subject, and that is what the Yash has discussed, that if you can identify what is the subject or what the main argument is, then go accordingly. Ashutosh is asking, I am general engineering male, and this is, I think, yes, this is a story of many students. If you can help to clarify that. I am general engineering male. I only want a top 10 to 12 colleges. My ACADS are 9 CGPA, 79.4 in 12th and 68.5 in graduation. So I think he's asking about his chances here.
You give me this CAT, I will give you the best institute. Our GDPI WAT program is, I'm not joking. You can go and read on Quora. These questions are irrelevant. These are not the variables in your control. You are going to write the exam. This is something which you spend a lot of time on when you go on various forums, right? So I don't think this is not the time for such thoughts. Get me a 99.9, or get even if you don't get me a 99.9, with a 99.9 you will anyway get through. All the obstacles are crossed. Get me even a 98.9, and I will see to it that you convert your best call. That's what I was saying, right? We have to talk about what we can control. So indeed, maybe the process is not fair. What can you do about it? Today itself, see, I was Victoria Azarenka. She came runner-up in the US Open. In her post-match interview, she said that earlier I used to complain and I was losing. Now I just tell myself, oh shit, what can I do about it now? So my suggestion is you also say the same. Oh shit, I am general engineer male with this profile. What can you do about it now? One good option with your impressive CGPI is, of course, you see research from outside, right? 9 CG. What were you doing in your institute? So yeah, that is my answer. This is something which is, I mean, it's just gossip. What will you gain out of it? Get the thrill out of getting a good percentile first, right? Let's just get there, and we'll get to the next step.
Yeah. Next question is again from Ashutosh, I think. No, Aditya Anandkar. He is asking that is there any appropriate division of time between VA, like 40 in RC and 20 in VA or something of that sort?
So I will tell you what I used to do, which works, is go all for RC. So I would go for RC. I would leave parajumbles for the end, because parajumbles, again, like I said, the trickiest section there. And you should, if you are an average cat taker, then you should not be taking more than 8 minutes per passage, right? Or on average. I'm not saying per passage. Like I said, you can take 6 in one and 10 in another, but on average 8 minutes per passage. So you should be able to finish the RC section in 40 minutes. And let's say there are 4 parajumbles. Now you are left with 6 sitters, 3 para completion and 3 alternate summaries. They will take not more than 3 minutes or 4 minutes max. I mean, if there's no need to actually spend more time than more than 30 seconds or 50 seconds on each. So you will be done with them. And that leaves you with ample time for just the parajumbles. Even if you go wrong by 5-6 minutes, you still will be able to finish your paper. Always start with the passage. I have realized that the best order to go for these questions is the order in which the questions come to you. That is my personal understanding, because otherwise, how do you, if you go randomly, then you spend a lot of time in just the movements to identify certain types of questions. If you want to skip, you skip. After reading, if you have to skip, you skip. Right? So just go in that order, which means if after doing one passage, you get the verbal, let's say a verbal question comes there. If it's parajumble, just leave it. That's what I'm saying. If it's anything else, attempt it. Just do the parajumbles in the end. So I will be able to tell you what you should do if I have an access to your mocks or anything else. But I think this should work fairly well for most people. And I'm talking about you finishing 34 out of 34 questions. There is enough time. Trust me on this. Please do not think it's easy for me to say, or what does he think, or those kinds of thoughts, if they are there. It's easy. In VRC, you have enough time. 60 minutes is enough. Only if you waste the first 5-6 minutes just going through the section without any strategy, and the last 5 minutes is wondering which question to solve, then the game changes, right? Then you have 10 minutes less. That's exactly what happens for most people. The last 5 minutes yield nothing. The first 5 minutes yield nothing. So the 60 minutes, those 60 minutes become 50 minutes.
Yeah. So Ashutosh, I think Ashutosh is the same person who said that he's general engineering male and shared the academic performance. Ashutosh is saying, I have friends at 99.19 who got best call from Bodh Gaya. With all due respect, I can give up on CAT and focus on PGDBA and CFA. Now, Ashutosh, if you can also share the section-wise percentile of your friend who got 99.19, that might help us to comment more. That is for one. And the most important thing is you or any student or any aspirant knowing that what actually you want. If it is only a job, then of course you can go for PGDBA or CFA or CA or anything that you wish, right? But if you want to make a career in management, then I think these things shouldn't count that what are the other alternatives. Either you want it or either you don't want it. So let us not be confused about it. And I'm 100% sure that if you go and choose any other career or any career for that matter, you will have happy stories and you will have really sad stories that can demotivate you. So it's entirely up to you to take that call. So I'm not diverting it to Yash because I think I have already
See,
taken that.
in the middle of the program, I will try to bring in 9 or 10 people who will tell those happy stories. There are again, the whole point is those who don't get the best option eventually, they will talk more about those who get through. It's the, and I mean, if you look at the people who would write reviews to any program, it will mostly be the people who are not happy. But again, like I said, right now you have to just think about the test. Suppose I'm giving you a personal guarantee. Get me a 99.00, and I will make sure you go to a good institute. You will get a call. If it's a proper balanced percentile, you will get a call. So let's leave it at that. Let's cross 99. This is not. I mean, I remember one Bollywood movie. I don't remember the name. I think it was Hakikat, where I think the dialogue was in English. It would be that it's futile to just hold a gun, stand at the border before a war, and then think whether we should have world peace, something of that sort. So now you're in a situation where there is only one thing you can control, which is your performance there. And if you have, let's say, I can empathize with the anger in you. If you have it, then let it be you being at 99.9 and not getting a call, rather than you being at 98.9 and not getting a call. So why it should motivate you, right? Champions channelize their anger, they turn it into something great. So I think you should be able to do that. Just think from that point of view.
Yeah. So Pawan is asking what is cost of pursuing this course. Pawan, it is 4,000 for the crash course of VARC. However, as I said, we will be taking 50 students, and the first 25 students who approach will get a discount code. We have already been approached in between the session by 5 or 6 students. So yeah, you can mail us at feedback@napoli.com and we will get back to you. Sumit is asking, sir, I have to go back to passage again and again. It is like I'm doing match the following.
No. I did not say that. No. I think you're referring to the part where I said that you have to double check. I was talking about the factual questions. You see, if there are, let's say, 4 questions followed by following a passage, then there would be one question which would be strictly, when the author says this, what exactly is the author referring to? In that case, you go to 1 or 2 sentences before that, 1 sentence after that, and be sure about what you are writing. It would just take 20 more seconds. Even if you are sure, because you see, maybe there is an oversight. Maybe that question exists there for a reason, and in your speed, in your hurry to go to the next question, you have missed that out. So you can do that. I'm not talking about you going back to the questions which relate to the main theme. There is no main theme. Where do you get the main theme of the passage? Where do you get the assumptions that the author would have made in the passage? Or where do you get the inference-based questions? That is based on your understanding of the passage only. So maybe there will be one maximum of 2 questions if there is a set of 6 where you will need to confirm from the passage, just to avoid the blunder. Let's say if your speed is somewhat less than then and you are sure, then don't do it. I mean, that's what I was saying. You don't need to keep going to the passage. The whole point of reading the passage properly is to not go back to the passage and start reading it again. That is the exact point. And if you are somebody, let's say, who goes to the questions first and then goes to the passage, that is exactly why it takes a lot more time than for you to read it once and then answer the questions, because it would be chaotic. Right. So yeah.
So here is one happy story. Meanwhile, we were talking and somebody has shared. Shubham Kumar is sharing that my friend got IMA by scoring 82 percentile. He was from OBC category, but he cleared all the sections. So I don't think we need to comment anything on it, on that. Just sharing it with someone who was saying about 99.19. Ashutosh is asking, do you LRDI course as well? I mean, he perhaps wants to ask, are we offering LRDI course as well?
The man who's talking to you is the best at LRDI, by the way.
Certainly it depends upon what kind of response we get.
We will do a survey. The whole point is, if we have to have a critical mass there, critical number. So if there is a possibility that you see at least 25 will join the program, we will want to explore it beforehand. We'll launch it. Because Siddharth, would you like to give any tips on LR anyway? I mean, why don't you just, how do you
Uh,
manage to
See, frankly
do what I?
speaking, for LRDI, what I find is that for most of these students, why they struggle is they look at the question when they are solving their funda books or whatever mocks, anything. They don't. I mean, when they are solving the funda books, they spend hardly 5 to 6 minutes and they give it on the question. They go for the solutions, and this applies even in quant. See, in quant and DI, you simply burn the solution book. It should be beyond your reach. Struggle with the question, fight with the question, only then your concepts can be built. Unlike English or the verbal part, where solution or the mentors, what mentor is saying is of utmost important to understand the gap between what you are understanding and what somebody is trying to convey. Then there are some very basic books that a student should solve, like puzzle book by Shakuntala Devi or George J. Summers puzzle book. So these are some basic things that certainly a student should aim for, rather than simply going at the mock test. Mocks are utmost important, no doubt about it, that without writing the mocks, these books are not going to help in any which way. But then certainly to build the base, Shakuntala Devi puzzle book, George J. Summers puzzle book, and there are other puzzle books also that are available that someone can solve. Okay, so next going to Teja. Teja is asking, I am an engineering student. I will attempt CAT next year. How can I develop a good reading habit? Focus more on outcome. So I don't know what focus more on outcome means, Teja, if you can just elaborate. But certainly Yash can tell how can you develop a good reading habit.
No, I said, right, you have to, where does your reading feed come from? That is important. I'm talking about a 1-year program here. I'm not program, but your 1-year strategy, if you can call it. So, for example, even NAPLI will help you, by the way. Many people say that it helps in their comprehension, developing the comprehension. But there is an app called Flipboard. On Flipboard, I'm sure you know of it. You can set your customized feeds there based on your choices. So maybe you set up philosophy, maybe you set up lifestyle, health, all these apps, so-called abstract topics from where you'll get the feeds. So, and I think I should have mentioned before, it really doesn't matter where you read, on your laptop screen or on your phone. The whole point is, whenever you are free, you should click open the app or whatever, wherever your feed is coming from, and read something new. If you get into that mode, then it's done. Because eventually, what is it that RC is testing? It's testing your ability to deal with something new, some new kind of information, some new kind of some new type of writing style. And so that is your answer. So the outcome, again, see, we get interested in the out right now. If you're talking about 2020, then we can talk about the outcome. But there is no way in which I can just talk about the questions without talking about the passage. So I think you're trying to ask if there is any shortcut to maybe not read the passage completely and just get the hints here and there. I don't know, maybe see, it works in Bank PO. It even works in civil services. You have the CSAT section. It works there. But in CAT, I mean, I'll share the deck with you, which I've used. You just read those paragraphs and tell me how can you understand those passages without reading them completely. And and by the way, I should also tell that it's much easier for us to read on the screen, and we take less time to read on the screen than we would have taken if it was printed on paper, on a piece of paper, the same passage. Because in our daily lives, we are used to that, right? We do that. We type so much, we just keep reading all of the day. So this is for our advantage to read from the screen. Oh, and I think I should have mentioned, I don't know how many still are in the session, but and somebody should have asked, but nobody asked. Since nobody asked, I'm volunteering to answer it. I do not believe in reading books to prepare for RC. That, which book should I read? No book. In fact, I read. I don't even know. I can't even tell you the last five books which I would have read. It's because of the fundamental problem with any book. After the first 10 pages, you have understood the book. Then you are not training yourself to read something diverse. It's just the same book. You have understood the plot, it's unraveling, you go on, and you have just wasted. I mean, of course, you read it for the joy of reading, But if you're talking about preparation, you should be reading articles, editorials, not books, not the books. Many people just start buying random books and then think that they're preparing for this. Even if it's about philosophy, yeah, Encyclopedia of Philosophy, why not? There is a Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy online. I mean, you can just go wild on it. Just click any random link and read it. That is one way of doing it. No, not end to end, but just click any random hyperlink there and do it. Or go to the philosophy page of Wikipedia for that matter. Click on epistemology and click on any random philosopher there and read it. That will be good practice. But again, if you want to read that book from one philosopher and think that it will help you, no, it won't. So it's eclectic reading. You have to diversify your sources, not get comfortable with any one particular style. That is how you prepare for this. Which you see, it happens by default. It's not something which you can, now since you're asking for strategy, it's fine. But it happens by default if you are somebody who just likes to explore more. Right.
Yeah,
So, for example,
yes.
on my feed, there is one article right now about dark matter. Something new has happened there. And I don't have any idea. I mean, I have some idea about dark matter, but whatever the topic is, I have very less idea about that. So now after the session, whenever I get time, I will just click on that and I will read it. So it should be like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. If for everybody who is present here, if you have to deliver one outcome, irrespective of whatever the background of the person is, for this VARC crash course program, what will that be?
Oh, you want me to
I mean, we
guarantee
can say
99%?
something like,
No, I can guarantee 99%
yeah, in
time.
a way. I mean, if not 99, you can say 90, because the next question I will like to deal with in a similar manner. The person has
90 I
asked the
can
question, and
guarantee.
this.
But again, it's a two-way street. So whatever I will tell will have to be done. Whatever I will send will have to be read. 90 is, I mean, it would be shameful for me to say that 90 is guaranteed. I would say I would say 99. Just do what I say. I create the reading list today itself. Do it today.
Siddharth Bothra is asking, can we get a free session before paying for all the session? Siddharth,
This
that
is the
perhaps
free session.
answer the questions. I will answer it, yes. That perhaps
Yeah.
answer. Yash is not selecting students on the basis of your current level. He is promising 99 percentile. So definitely we are not taking a demo of the students. We won't offer demo classes, right? He is promising 99 if you follow what he says.
No,
That's it.
anyway, I mean, if there are general queries, you can write to feedback. I will try my best to reply to them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we're talking about a crash course here. And now how many days are remaining? 76 days. So,
Something like
I mean,
that, yeah.
if you need it, you will find it to be valuable. And beyond that, anyway, I will see whatever best can be done otherwise. But I think this is the demo, right? This is my audition. So my audition, I'm in front of you. So.
Right. So Shubham is asking about the 2021 program and what is the fee structure. Shubham, we will come up with that program. It just depends on what kind of response we have and how many students want to join, because you know we this is not something that we are into. We are more of a Napoli as you follow. Yeah, but definitely we want to help out the students, and we will see what kind of response we get. Prem is asking, I've taken around 20 mocks with an average score of 27 in VARC. Any suggestion to improve? Prem? It certainly doesn't help. Yeah, exactly. If you can share the percentile, then we can definitely help you. So Sumit is asking how to deal with philosophy and economics. I think you have already taken that in a way, but if you want to add something more.
No, put your feeds, right? Put your feeds to economics, world economy or economics, and adjust your feed to philosophy. You'll get many articles on that. There's no proper way to prepare for it. If you basically see what is it that stops us from being very receptive to any passage on philosophy. The simple fact that we haven't read much of articles such as those. And for example, long back, it was one passage on Derrida. I think that was the killer passage during my time. Deconstructionism. You can look it up. I think it's one of the so-called toughest passages ever there. Suddenly people are now deconstructionism at Derrida. And it was tough for me as well, at the time. But then later on, when I started following philosophy as a matter of interest, as a matter of life and death and beyond, these things are actually pretty simple. So if you are asking me how to do well in any passage on philosophy without reading philosophy, I told you the first two principles: read with an open mind. That is all. In fact, many times if you read with an open mind, you will do better than somebody who has probably prior information or knowledge on that. So you just have to read it. You have to be again, just a proper flow. Forget about the problem with philosophy and certain science passages is that there are many terms which come to you for the first time, and then the flow stops. But they don't really matter, because then, like I said, suddenly then the next paragraph there will be one clue and you understand what it is about. And like I said, the answers are easier than the passage when the passage is difficult. The questions basically. So do it. Deal with the uncomfortable. That is what it is about.
Yeah.
There will be, of course, I think there will be one passage on philosophy. That this is a good question to ask. There will be one passage on economics or health. You see, there's such topics. I would want to predict that there would be one topic related to work from home, but something which we normally don't consider, something which we do. I mean, so maybe the impact on health due to because we are working from home, something related to that. It would have been published in Time or New York Times in a section called health, or in a section called, in Time there is a category called ideas, where many of these top bloggers write. Maybe from there. Also, mind you, these passages are not completely taken. You will find ... after each paragraph, or even in the middle of a paragraph. That is that is one way of telling you that there is a break. So they remove 2-3 sentences from in the middle, and that really doesn't matter, because they have given it a proper thought that it does not hamper any understanding of the passage.
Yeah.
So
So Aditya Anandkar is saying that he's a big fan of our app, and his question is, one of his mentor has said that you should write summary of every paragraph in RC to comprehend it better. Is this right way to do it? Aditya, these are kind of, I mean, yes, you take it.
no, you can see, again, it depends on how much time do you have. So if you want to get it evaluated, then the other person also should have read that passage. And see, again, how do you, I've always said, if you can send to me one SMS, 160 characters, and I read that SMS, and then I read the passage which you are referring to, and I smile because you have captured it perfectly, then your job is done. So I would say write one sentence, write the main theme rather than the summary of the passage. So you no need to write, in the first paragraph the author discusses this, then in the second paragraph the author discusses this. That is actually talking to yourself. That is sub-vocalization on which you are capturing on paper. So no, that is not necessary. But yes, the main theme you can write. You can ask your friend to first read the main theme and then read the passage and give you a feedback. You should take feedback, of course. There's no problem with that.
Pawan, I did not take up your question, but because I thought that Yash has answered it a couple of times, but since you are insisting, I will just once again read the question. A similar kind of question has been asked. So for reading practice, how to read the newspaper for better performance and pace?
Don't read the newspaper. You're not getting a New York Times subscription, right? You're not getting a Washington Post in your home. And I think I had mentioned, I had to do it quickly, but I think I had mentioned it. Don't read Indian newspapers for doing well in the CAT. You should read the newspaper for doing well in the GDPI what section, of course. And that there too, you should read the business section. You should avoid all the political discussion, but you have to read online. So, and even if you're online, you're talking about the newspaper. Again, the same answer, right? The feed is everything in this. Don't think you are taking a physical newspaper, a copy of newspaper, and sitting with your tea every day for 1 hour. It's improving your comprehension, because of the simple reason that with that newspaper you are reading about the topics which you are already familiar with.
right? And these days you are reading mostly about Riya Chakravarti and Sushant Singh Rajput. Okay, I want to gossip about that, but let's leave it at that. So in the international ones, and they're there to culture, lifestyle, technology, future, such sections,
Yeah.
not Trump.
Neeraj is just passing on the message to you. He is a student of GK Napoli as well. And your sessions on trade theory, religion, and morality are the best. So that's the message that Neeraj has passed on. Yeah.
Thank you, Neeraj. I will do more of that now. Now you will have to
Average.
bear with
Yeah.
my philosophy more. Yes.
Okay, so Prem, who was saying that he's scoring around 27 percentile, 27 marks in the verbal section. His percentile is around 65. He usually gets maybe around 60 to 70 kind of percentile. So how to improve on that?
That's less. That's less, and you'll have to face the truth there. That means, your number of, if I can guess, then your number of attempts are not consistent, certainly low. Maybe you are attempting less, or you're not reading properly. There are only two reasons. So with a 65 percentile, you have to both increase the number of attempts and read. I mean, there's no term called more properly, but read properly. That's the only thing. So it's bad. I mean, I can't lie about it. It's bad. If you are saying that 2.5 months, less than 2.5 months before CAT, you are at 65 percentile in one section. I will tell you about one story. I mean, my senior at IIT Kharagpur, he used to get such percentiles, and he was doing really well in the other two sections. Talking about long time back, he locked himself in his room. We are talking about a hostel room for almost an entire week, and he only did RC. He just did the passages. He just had access to all the passages anywhere. That to physical. You see, at that time it was of course on paper, and he did that, and he managed to do reasonably well in that section. So I guess you are in that mode now. You have to work harder on it. So again, I don't know what's going wrong. So either it's the attempts or either it's the comprehension part. Maybe you are overthinking. Maybe you are talking a lot. Maybe this percentile itself is bothering you a lot. So the first suggestion is go for 34. And many people resist this. Many people get furious at this. Why I'm fine at 25, 26, and the worst way to attempt VRC is to say that I will attempt 26 with an 80% accuracy. And that's silly. How can you talk about accuracy? I mean, if it's up to you, you would attempt 26 with 100% accuracy. So the historical accuracy averaged over sometime when you got all right and sometime when you got just 30% right, and you say 80% accuracy, and then you convince yourself that does not work. So all you can say is, I will attempt 34 and I will get 20 right in the worst case. I think that's what you should try for.
Yeah.
I'm not asking which mock because it doesn't matter, because you have been giving a consistent trend, and because anyway it's a relative world out there. So yeah.
So Shweta, I think Shweta is saying she joined late, but her question we have already replied. But let us check that again. I understand passage well, but still get answers wrong and get confused with two.
No, you don't. That's silly. I don't believe in it. You don't understand passage well. Let me be very, very blunt here. Don't fool yourself. I'm sorry, but I will have to be the strict teacher here. No, don't. First, you have to be honest with yourself. If you understand the passage well, you will not get the question wrong. And it's not just a trend here, by the way. Even for school students, if you ask their parents, if those who are preparing for JEE NEET, they would say that, oh, my child is very smart, but he makes blunders. How many blunders can you make? I mean, how many out of 100? Maybe 2. But how can you make so many blunders that you don't clear the exam? So no, you are not reading the passages properly. And first, you have to be honest to yourself. You will find your performance. I mean, you bang your head on the wall, and then say that, why am I not concentrating? You are obviously not concentrating. You're reading the passage, but you're not understanding it. So try to block all your thoughts. Just try to just not think anything at all. Maybe that's it. I'm not saying there won't be blunders, but if you are telling me that in the last 10 mocks, it's because I understood the passage properly. in spite of understanding the passage properly, I could not answer the question, then that doesn't work. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen at all. So you are not understanding the passage properly. Just focus on that. Just ask yourself why. Go through all your mocks. Just look into it, analyze it. Right? If you take a mock for, even if it's a sectional, you take it for an hour. You have to analyze it for 3 hours. If you're not doing well, otherwise for 40 minutes to 1 hour, if you are doing well there. Never forget to even analyze the questions which you got right. Maybe it was by fluke. Maybe you just marked B, between B and D, you marked B and you got B. So it's that, yeah.
Yeah. So Shweta, I think we have answered your other question is again on similar lines. So I think you have got your answer. So now Prem is saying thanks for the honest, blunt feedback, sir. We'll attempt 34 questions in the upcoming mock.
Yeah, thank you for appreciating the feedback. I mean, after you pay me, probably I will not be able to, to talk so bluntly. But yeah, right now I can.
Neeraj is saying, yeah, Neeraj is again complimenting you for something that he's saying there was a video of you on a Nobel Prize in that you had discussed about exoplanets. And in mock, a question on exoplanet was asked. I marked the option even without reading the passage. So great. Great, Neeraj.
Okay, I mean, you got lucky, but you should not do that. That's not something which I would be recommending. See, if there is a passage on exoplanets and you know now about exoplanets, that means you should finish the passage in 2 minutes. That does not mean that you should answer it without reading it. I was not able to give a few examples. 2-3 passages were really well created or taken in this cat, where the meaning changes after the first 2 paragraphs. It's critical of that topic. So yeah, maybe you got lucky. That's what I would say.
That is it. I mean, we have taken all the questions. Yes, if you have anything to end as the closing remark, we can end it. And guys, if you have any feedback and anything else you need, I have already shared our Telegram group link. I am once again doing it right now. Just a minute. To whosoever right now they are present, they can join the Telegram group. You can write on the mail. Prateek, we will share the coupon code by tomorrow. You have written the mail, we will reply to that mail. Right? So we will do it by tomorrow.
Closing remarks.
Yeah.
I want to do the closing remarks.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So it's about this. I believe in all these competitive exams, regardless of what happens after that, because everybody gets the same set of questions. Whatever grudge you have against life doesn't come with a syllabus, but here you know what you are dealing with. It's a great opportunity, trust me. And it 2 months is enough for you to rise from, let's say, even if you are at 60, you can rise to 99. And there is absolutely no point in taking a test. I mean, filling the form and not taking it properly, which is exactly what 80% people do, who help the other 20% people get a good percentile. Now, even if you are doing it casually, let's say under quotes experience, doing this for experience, how would you get the proper experience if you haven't tried properly, right? So in any case, you have to slog as much as you can. We live in a world where actually, I'm sure you have a lot of time, even if you don't have any other thing, you already are flush with time. So use that time properly. I think the ideal split should be 2 hours of theory and 1 mock. Alternate days, on alternate days, 1 day should be sectional, the other day you can take a full-time mock. And I know 99% people would not take a proper mock. It doesn't matter, right? You can take any mock. You can take a mock from 2011, 12. I have an entire folder full of old mock papers of you name it, all the institutes. I can share that with you. But you have to do that on a daily basis, and that is something which you will be reluctant. And if you do that, 2 hours of theory and 1 mock every day, a sectional, and maybe a full-length mock when you can, nobody can stop you from crossing 99. And hopefully we'll see what else can be done about it, and we'll see, right? I'll see if Siddharth can take one session on LR. After this I'll convince him to do it. We'll also do one session on quant if necessary. So whatever is necessary we will do, but ultimately you have to fight for your percentile. That's how it works, right? So I showed you my which is practically useless. There's nothing. My scorecard there. And someday you should, and which is not really flattering. My highest, my highest CAT percentile was 99.7. My lowest ever was 98.99. So, and I've written CAT 7 times. So that's where it stands. So you have to give your best. Ultimately, when you come out of the examination hall, you shouldn't be saying, "Oh, I could have prepared for this." In quant, for example, you know it's geometry, you know it's algebra. If you have gone through the last, even if you solve the last 20 years questions, I'm not joking again. Even if you solve the last 20 years questions of quant, you are assured of 99. And it's a game of speed, game of terrible speed. So you have to take many mocks so that you can do well. And ultimately, if you prepare well, your hunger will be greater in the exam. This is what, because you would say, I haven't slogged in the last 6 months just to falter at the last stumble. It won't be, right? That's the reason why you see those who top in mocks consistently, they clear CATs. I mean, maybe it's a matter of 0.2% here and there, because there comes that hunger that I can't let others say that, oh, you prepared so much for what? So the first step is prepare so much. Again, if you are interested in GMAT, it's a separate discussion. I am all for GMAT. I always recommend people, now for those who are writing it this year, maybe it's not possible, but I always ask people to take the GMAT before they take the CAT, because once you get even a 720 plus score, you are relaxed. You know that for the next 5 years, a good one of the best business schools in the world is within your reach. It will be up to you how you show a profile and the SOP, and even then maybe I can help you out. So that is something which you should keep in mind. In this flat world, the GMAT will also be of help. So maybe consider that later on. I can go on and on because I'm sitting in, as you can see by the side of my window, away from my laptop. So I think we will leave it at this. The other questions, feedback@napli.com, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well, however you want it.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for being here, and we really hope to see you in our program. You can join the Telegram group, and quite a few of you have already joined. So that is it. We are closing it. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye. Thank you for attending and bearing with my lecture. Yeah, bye.